Alex Ledger. How are you?
I'm very well, Regan. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a long time. It's really good to see you and catch up with you. You're looking well. You're a paramotor instructor. You've got your paramotor school. You have lots of events going on. Hiking, climbing. Are you still skydiving as well a little bit?
I haven't jumped for 3 years, mate. I'm missing it.
Oh, we need to get you back in the air. So what's been happening? I've not seen you for a long time. You've just come back from Dubai. Were you doing something out there?
Yeah, so we've got a kind of franchise out there, Sky School UAE.
Yeah.
And that's been going for a couple of years now. And we've been doing a project. We've been training up for a project in Saudi Arabia, which is opening its doors to adventure tourism. And paramotoring is one of those things, working with our old friend Joshua Caird.
Joshua, yes. So that's going to be in Neom, the new city.
Exactly, yeah.
So what is it going to be? A paramotor school, or what's it going to be?
No, we're doing an activation project. So we're flying through Neom and showcasing, its stunning scenery to the world.
What's it like, Neom? How far advanced are they in there? Because it was basically there was nothing there at all, and they're building a mega city, right?
So that they're still in that development phase.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like Dubai. You're not going to expect any skyscrapers. It's going to be more futuristic, and it's going to be interesting because the climate's slightly cooler in the winter and not as hot in the summer. You've still got desert, but you've got unbelievable, untouched, pristine coastline with these coral reefs just offshore, and there's almost endless beaches to go and fly along or go and explore. And then inland, it's proper Lawrence of Arabia type terrain. It's stunning.
It's big as well, isn't it? The amount of square footage, about square miles of the place is absolutely massive.
Yeah, I think they say it's the same landmass as Belgium.
Wow, that's incredible. And so this opening event, what are you planning? Is it top secret? Can you tell us anything about it?
Yeah, it's a little bit top secret.
I'd love to tell you. We'll go into that then.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing then in general over the last couple of years? Give me a bit of a rough outline of how your life has been.
So I live in Chamonix. I've literally just come back off the mountain. As you probably know, the ski resorts are shut, but we can still go out ski touring. I've just flown, we skin up, fly down, so that's nice, and be out in the mountains in this when the snows come early, and the conditions are beautiful for flying as well. So my winters are spent here. My summers are spent basically bouncing around Europe.
Yeah.
Making sure the schools are running properly. We've been operating in Portugal, on the coast, in Spain, and also back in the UK on a drop zone, actually, Hinton and Hedges. And in the meantime, I've also been doing quite a few projects. We run these kind of flying trips called Sky Weeks, and I take people who are already qualified on these kind of trips around Europe and other parts of the world. We've got one lined up for Namibia next year, which I'm really excited about. And I've done a few trips to Africa in the past. So yeah, always a favorite adventure for me. And then I also run the International Paramotor Association, which takes me around the world, meeting all these kind of mad people who like strapping engines on their back.
So you run that? What, you're the president of it, or how does that work?
I am the secretary of APPPG. So effectively, I license instructors and tandem pilots around the world, and then update and manage the training systems.
Wow. And as you were saying, in the summer, bouncing around Europe, I mean, that's what I'm normally doing as well, from event to event. But this year, nothing for me with the pandemic. How's it been for you?
This year's been all right because I've been in the camper van. So it's been fantastic. We've had freedom of movement. So ever since the restrictions were lifted, it's been a pretty amazing summer for us, because we could run this whole operation fairly remotely distanced. So as you know, you don't have to get hands-on with teaching people how to fly paramotors. You can stay kind of quite distant from them. So a lot of people, the moment the lockdowns were lifted, they just couldn't wait to get out, and paramotoring is pardon the pun, really taken off.
Yeah. I was speaking with Pete Allen about a lot of skydivers from Ampura Brava have took up paragliding now. And I was asking about that transition going from as a skydiver, you're used to having nylon above your head and lines, to being a paraglider. It's totally different. You went to a first day school, started again with it. What about going from paragliding to paramotor? What's that transition like?
Well, so paragliding is an easier thing to learn initially, just doing a top to bottom, than paramotoring. But then once you progress as a paraglider, it becomes a lot more technical. You've got to understand how to use the thermals or the ridge lift in order to stay airborne. Whereas obviously with the engine, it's simple. That generates your lift. Yeah. However, a lot of people transitioning from paragliding to paramotoring initially struggle because of the body position. So when you take off on a paraglider on a hill, you lean forward, you get your weight forward so you can pressurize the leading edge of the canopy. Whereas if you do that with a paramotor on and you apply full power, there's only one place to go, and that's nose down into the ground.
Right. How did you get involved, Alex? How did it all begin for you?
I started with skydiving, Regan. So
you were a skydiver first, were you?
I started skydiving when I was 16. Well, I did my first skydive, I think is the best way to describe it.
Where was that?
That was in Netheravon.
Right.
And that was back in 2000 with the Red Devils.
Yeah.
And then learned to skydive early 2000. I got my A license down in Toogoolawah, of all places, in Australia in 2003. And then from there, it just snowballed. I think like attracts like in this world. And I met an old family friend who makes these paramotors. He runs Parajet, which is arguably the biggest paramotoring manufacturer in the world. And it's turned out to be a journey I've not got off, and it hasn't finished yet. So I'm still going. I think 16 years later with the school, and I'd like to think we're one of the top schools in the world. And I still have a passion for the sport, and I still love the freedom that it brings, and all the quirky, amazing individuals that you meet on the way as well.
Yeah, we certainly do. What's been happening in the development with paramotor? Is it static, or are things changing? Is there new ideas coming in? How is it?
Well, we've been flirting with the idea of electric paramotors for about 10 years. That technology hasn't quite come around, and I think it's more down to demand. I know that the technology is probably there now, but the demand is still on the, it's still yet to catch up with the technology, surprisingly enough. A lot of focus has been on lightweight equipment for obvious reasons, and that has really helped attract more women into the sport, which is great, because it has been known to be a little bit testosterone heavy, two-stroke engines and all that. But now with the lighter equipment and a slight shift in attitude, you're finding a lot of people you would normally expect to have seen take up the sport maybe 10 years ago. More and more people are getting involved. I think they do see it. A lot of people see it as a great form of freedom, because once you've got the training, you've got the equipment, you just need to have landowners' permission in order to fly, especially in the UK. You don't need an airfield, you don't need to hangar it. It lives in the back of your car or your garage, or in some places, in their bedroom. And off you go and fly. And I think there's something very special about that.
What about airspace and height restrictions? How does that work?
So in the UK, you've got to be an open airspace, and you need to have, you don't need to ask permission to fly other than from the landowner. So you don't need to clear anything with airspace. If let's say you transition from being a microlight pilot or a PPL, then you could bring over your call sign, and you could ask to actually go and land at an airfield if they let you. You'll be a lot slower moving than everyone else. But height-wise, we can go up to 10,000 feet without asking any questions at all. And then when we are, on the cross-country flight, it's 500 feet from any person, vessel, structure, or object. So UK, believe it or not, is a very relaxed place to fly a paramotor, unlike the country you're in at the moment.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, Canada is renowned for being very strict.
Wow, I must be careful I don't get myself into trouble then with the wrong sport here. What about this U-Space initiative I was looking at a couple of years ago? Have my details incorrect, but they were talking about restrictions of 500 feet and below. Are you familiar with that, or is it something which died away?
Which country?
That was when I was in Switzerland with the drone racing conference, and they were talking about monetizing and capitalizing the airspace up to 500 feet and licenses and permissions for it. Maybe it's something which didn't come across.
Yeah, no, it's not something I think that's going to. Well, it hasn't affected us yet. Ironically, in Switzerland, two-stroke or motorized paramotoring is illegal, but you are allowed to fly electric paramotors. Not that there are many people who fly that, but thus far, but by all accounts, I got in touch with the British Microflight Aircraft Association because of what's going on with Brexit at the moment, to ask the question as to, how are these rules going to be changed when we do leave the European Union? And apparently it's going to become a lot more relaxed. So I think for any British pilots, they're going to find things even easier, and we will wait to see what happens on the continent.
And the competition scene, how is that looking at the moment going into next year?
Well, it's been a terrible year for obvious reasons, but it's supposed to be held in Brazil next year. One of my instructors is organising that, and it's something which people are crying out to get back into, because as I know you've commentated on parabatics. This is what a lot of these guys live for. To be able to showcase their skills to an audience and push the boundaries. So. Yeah, it would have been a tough year for them, but I'm sure they'll bounce back.
Good, we hope so. For you, Alex, now, end of the year, Christmas there in Chamonix, obviously, for the rest of the winter?
Yeah, I think it's going to be ski touring every day. Either that is going to be hiking up some big mountains with a paraglide on my back. And yeah, hopefully the list will open in the new year, and then I'll get back. I spend all my winters paragliding or ski touring or in the mountains without any engines. So I like to break it up so that I have the best of both worlds, I'd say.
Sounds absolutely idyllic. Alex, it's been great to see you and catch up with you. And thanks very much for giving me some of your time here this afternoon.
No worries, mate. Good to see you. And let me know when you're back over this side of the pond.
Yeah, well, indeed. Hopefully, I could try and get some lessons at some point. That would be great.
Yeah, probably about time, actually.
I think so, yeah. Take care, my friend.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.